Are you looking for a great plant for your home or garden? Well, we might just have the answer for you at our monthly plant sale. This is Rabbi Shafir Loeb inviting you to join Congregation Eitz Chayim at our monthly plant sale. It is fourth Sunday and the Monday after that, and we are at 540 Northwest University Boulevard, Suite 102. It's the front building right there on University Boulevard in Port St. Lucie. Lots of interesting plants. Come and find the one just for you.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
It's 11:09 at WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast. You're on Ask a Rabbi.
And this is Rabbi Shafir Loeb of Congregation Eitz Chayim, rapidly getting the technology going. Yay, happy Friday, sunny day, not the rainy it's been for the last little while. But yeah.
Oh, we needed the rain, though.
We did need the rain, absolutely. No question about it.
Happy Mother's Day to the mother of your flock there at the temple.
Okay, yes. Absolutely, to all the
Sure.
mothers.
Yeah.
It is that, you can't miss it, right? Everybody's got Happy Mother's Day sales and all those things that we need to do. Just give Mama a hug and a kiss and tell her you love her, or at least that you thank her for bringing you into the world.
There you go. That's not a bad idea.
You know?
And if your mother has passed, think of her.
That goes without
I always think of her anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes without saying for me as well. So, alrighty. Pull the shirt straight. There you go. Love cameras. Yes. Cameras and mirrors, my favorite things in the whole wide world. Not even close. So, anyway. There's a ton of holidays going on, right? We've got Mother's Day. We've also got Israel's Independence Day coming this time of year. And, of course, flowers are coming out, so that's a good thing, too.
And don't forget, May 9th is Victory Day in Russia.
There you go. And we just had Cinco de Mayo, right?
Cinco de Mayo.
For those who, need that extra little boost, too.
Yep. Yeah,
May's a busy month.
holiday created by Corona Beer.
Yes. And unfortunately the favorite of many Corona parties, but...
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Damage-
Actually, we're going to have one on Sunday.
A Corona party?
La Gigante has got their annual Cinco de Mayo festival. It's going to be right over by the South Bridge.
Clearly on the
little
5th
park
of
there.
May, right? Cinco means 5.
Well, it's close.
It's close, yeah. I know. And that's when I had my birthday, people were like, "What are you doing for your birthday?" Going to work. Yeah.
By the way, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit ago there, but actually I get 2 birthdays a year. But I don't age 2 years in a year, please.
As Cliff always says, dog years.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm old in dog years, yeah.
All right, explain this 2 birthdays.
Well, because there's I operate on 2 different calendars. I operate on the Gregorian calendar, which is the popular calendar.
Yes.
The one that, today is the something of May.
Oh, right.
The 6th of May. I do know what day it is, but even before you signal me.
I'm glad you know. I have no clue.
I gotcha. And the other one is the Hebrew calendar, which is in the month of Iyar, and my Hebrew birthday is the 13th of Iyar, and that's next week. So I had a birthday in April, and I have another one coming up.
So are you going to celebrate it twice?
I didn't celebrate it the first one, so maybe.
Okay.
So, it's kind of interesting. Birthdays are not important to me or to my husband Bill, so we tend not to do a lot for them. We might say happy birthday to each other, but it's not with any huge significance.
No pomp and circumstance.
No pomp and circumstances. I think I made dinner on my birthday. Actually, no, I think we had a meeting to go to that evening, so it was, one of those things. You do what you have to do in life.
That's it,
But I have been enjoying spring break. That's my birthday gift to myself. And that's the Kaiser spring break, and it's the short break between semesters at IRC. IRC, of course, started Wednesday with Summer A.
Summer A. Yep.
Summer and Summer A. Both
Yep.
the full-term Summer and Summer A started. And I do have an A course, and I will have a B course as well. So they're ongoing, and they're online this summer, so...
One of our women's basketball players, Anaya Jenkins, by the way, hats off to her. She got her bachelor's degree
Very
at
good.
IRSC, and she's going to the University of West Alabama. She's already started her master's.
Nice.
That is so cool.
That is cool.
Congratulations.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And Kaiser, of course, starts their summer on Monday. Their summer A, they do an A, B, C, D. They do 4 terms in a 1 month or 4-week terms in a semester.
Oh, okay. Okay, they're semesters. Okay,
Right.
I get it.
Right.
16 weeks.
And I mean, the nursing program runs a full
Right.
semester, but the gen ed or the general education courses, and students always ask me, which one do I like better? And that's not really a valid question. They're just different. And it depends on the student as to which one works better for them. The classes at Kaiser tend to be smaller, much smaller, than the classes at IRSC. That's good and bad. If it's a big class, you've got more people that you can interact with as you're going through. If there's smaller, you get more attention. It, again, depends on which one helps you thrive. The courses at Kaiser are 4 weeks long, so you take one at a time. So you jump in, and if you're taking, let's say you're taking my Intro to Psychology that I teach, or Lifespan Development, or American Lit. It doesn't matter what course it is. You dive in. It's the only course you have. You live with that textbook for 4 weeks.
You're immersed in that.
You're immersed in it. So the learning is shorter but more intense. It doesn't give you as much sit back and relax time between assignments. But the reality is, if you're carrying 4 courses or 5 courses over a semester, you don't have time to relax either. And you're flying between subjects. So it is a question of which format is best for you as a student. For me as a professor, it doesn't really make a big difference. They're both intense. I have to grade whether I'm grading 4 classes for a semester or 1 class for a week for 4 weeks. It's intense. I'm doing a lot of grading. Period. And yeah.
So now, how many Kaiser students will you have for the summer semester?
This particular term, I have 4. So, for this class.
4 students?
4 students. So they're
Wow.
going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah, no kidding.
And, I think that's a benefit.
I averaged around 7 or 8 when I was at Loyola. Of course, that
Yeah.
was back in the dinosaur days, but...
Yeah, I understand. I had some of those roaming in my backyard, too. So, but I really did. I enjoyed thoroughly my week off, or part of a week off, and really got my front garden.
Oh, that
I worked on it. You saw the pictures.
picture
I've
you
been
sent on Facebook was mind-boggling.
of which one? Of the whole
The
thing?
orchid.
Oh, the orchid. Yeah,
Oh
that orchid
my
is gorgeous.
Gosh, it's beautiful.
It is very beautiful, and that's a native of Florida. So, yeah. There are some really pretty things that grow here. Some not so pretty things that grow in Florida. Everything's a mix. But, yeah, I took advantage of the timing and moved all of my pots, my flowers that have been sitting in my front yard, just sitting there, saying, one of these years she'll get a flower pot and plant us. And I actually did that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we rent our home, so I didn't want to put things in the ground that my landlord might not appreciate and that I want to take with me when we finally get around to buying a home. When this current market craziness settles down.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I had to jump in on a bubble in Tucson.
Ooh.
I don't want to do it again.
No.
So, and like all real estate bubbles, they do eventually.
They
burst.
will end. Yep.
They end. And I can't believe how many houses are going up. And Port St. Lucie has got to have doubled in size in not too many years.
Well, and there's 60,000 rooftops permitted for tradition.
Wow.
So
yeah, and they're all going in on Discovery Way.
Well, have you taken the back way in through Becker Road and then up?
I have no choice. I work at Kaiser.
No, well, Kaiser you could take from the front side too, but the Becker Road.
I've gone Becker past Discovery because there's allotments down there already.
Yeah,
that are on their way in, and it's going to be huge. It's going to go into all that farmland that's back in there. The roads are starting to promulgate, for lack of a better word.
And we found out last Saturday that the Crosstown Parkway is, thank you, Coulter, is going to be expanded all the way to Range Line Road. It's a $7 million plus project.
West.
To
Wow.
Range Line Road, and of course that's going to be the home of not one but two brand new high schools for St. Lucie County.
Wow. Okay.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that left turn, if you turn on and you go down, it's either a left turn onto Village Parkway or it's a right turn onto Crosstown.
Yeah.
To get up by the Publix. Yeah, I don't go that way very often. I live down by Becker, so cutting across Becker is easy for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just astounded at even the number of private dwelling homes that have gone up on Becker. And I'm trying to think to myself what that's going to be like in 10 or 15 years. You're not going to be allowed to back out onto Becker.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be like Prima Vista. Yeah, you take your life into your hands.
And and there's not a whole lot of room on those lots to make a circle driveway. I had a circle driveway in Tucson, and I loved it.
Yeah, and that would be neat.
Yeah, I loved it. It was 2 cars wide, so we could actually park along the U
and still get through. Yeah.
And it worked as long as people left us room to get into the garage.
Sure.
And I put little tiny lights along it that were solar powered, so they'd sit and soak up the sun during the day and then shine for at least part of the night.
Of course, as we all know, Tucson doesn't get much sun.
Oh, of course not. No, it usually destroyed the solar batteries before
I was going to say.
Yeah, it cooks them over time.
How many weeks do they last?
Yeah. And that is the problem. They do. They don't hold up when you get that much sun. The biggest difference that I have to say between Florida and Tucson, obviously, is the humidity. And in Tucson, the sun is unrelenting. It's always in your face. There's almost never a cloud to roll in front of it, except for the brief periods of the monsoons. And that's
very brief.
It is very brief. They're beautiful when they roll across the sky. And the clouds in Florida are gorgeous. They are beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and the monsoon season is
soon to be here.
Is coming, and you got to be aware of the arroyos in Tucson.
Well,
because they turn into raging rivers.
Unfortunately, people get killed every year because they don't believe that. You only have to see it once to go, oh, wow. Because it's not just water. It's not just a river. It's a raging torrent river.
Yes.
I mean, you see whole trees going down.
It's a rapid. mean, yeah.
The stuff is moving at a good clip. We used to go and watch it quite often, actually, to watch the washes.
Yeah, I remember covering a lot of stories. The sheriffs rescuing people,
Yeah.
and some successful, some not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people getting caught in it, not believing that it's going to do that. And just the sheer amount of earth that the water moves is just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So we don't have that here in Florida. We have the canals, and we do occasionally have flooding, but we don't have the raging waters, usually, that you get in Tucson. My husband loves watching the rain. And I know we need it. I know we need it because I have to water the plants when it doesn't rain. And we were having this long discussion actually yesterday about the length of hose that we now need so that
no!
I don't
yeah,
have to carry
sure.
out buckets of water, which I do right now.
Ooh, ouch! Yeah, that hurts.
I put some beautiful flowers out front. I do have some some different ground orchids, the orange ones, out there, and I've got a couple of fun plants, but they're big planters now, and those are not going to be easy to.
No. Yeah, but that is so true. When you get into your permanent home, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it's going to take two people to lift each planter. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes when it gets to that point.
There you go.
Not looking to do that until the housing market settles down. Yeah, one of the things that I loved about our allotment when we moved in was how little developed it was. And now the undeveloped parts are very little.
Hey, going back a lot of years, I remember Becker Road is a 2-lane dirt road.
Yeah, nobody would believe you right now.
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah, it was a long
and you can
time
tell they're
ago.
planning even on making that wider. They're going to make Rosser wider. They're going to make Savona wider.
Yep.
I expect that St. Lucie Boulevard, Port St. Lucie Boulevard, rather, is going to continue to get bigger. That whole area is just exploding. And then if you go down Becker all the way toward the water, the amount of all those new allotments in there,
Sure.
gated communities, and apartments. Tons and tons of apartments coming in.
Yeah.
So.
And needless to say, we need that, and hopefully they're affordable.
Ooh, yeah.
yeah.
I hope they become affordable. I don't think they are now.
That's.
Yeah, I was listening to a friend in Tucson complaining about an $800 a month rent.
Oh.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, don't move to Port St. Lucie right now.
No.
We need some lower rental points. Starting families, singles, young singles, they need to be able to get their foot in the ground and get started. And we just don't have that end. And
there was a story on Channel 5 of a neighborhood in Hope Sound that's going to be not low income, but
lower point. Working folks.
Yeah, for police, teachers, fire. I mean, none of them are getting rich.
No, and even, and I'm certainly not rich, and I feel very house poor just paying the rent. And and the rate it's going, it's. I hope we can stop this crazy inflation.
Yeah, I think that's a real concern.
Yeah.
And the Fed, by raising the rate, they're so far behind the 8 ball. They'd have to raise the rates to over 10% to even keep up with where inflation's going. And all I have to do is walk into Publix and realize.
Oh yeah,
that your food bill's going to almost double.
It's people are having to make serious choices where they didn't used to have to. And welcome to the rest of the world, America. But still, it's a rough one. It's a rough one, and You really, you look around and you get the idea of that ancient curse, may you live in interesting times. And you can see the challenge of interesting times. I don't think we're there yet, but we're a whole lot closer than we used to be.
Well, and the story we saw last night on NBC, baby formula.
Yeah.
It's like, and the person who was on was talking about hopefully that could be rectified sometime in 2023. And you sit there and go, okay, wait a minute. What do the young parents do now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
Yeah.
There's lots of there's a lot of potential for growth and a lot of potential to improve. I guess that's the good side. The question is what we will do with it and how we will react to and with it. And that's a measure of whether or not we are living up to our best selves. So we've got lots of opportunities here. Unfortunately, we've got lots of opportunities to not do that. And I hope that people will turn and look toward being their better selves. We can move humanity forward by the decisions that we make in the next 2 or 3 years. Or not. And, my father of blessed memory always used to say, America's an experiment. And when he lived, we were just coming up on being 200 years old. We were just there.
Yeah. Bicentennial. I
yeah,
remember
the
that.
bicentennial. You do, huh?
Yeah.
And, the question is, are we going to be able to survive? 200 years is pretty much how long a country tends to stay in the limelight. We'll see if America can continue or if we've hit an edge of some sort. I hope not. I hope we continue to blossom and grow. And it's interesting to me, and I wish that our education system was better.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it scares me. I was talking with I also coach some graduate students that are working on their dissertations, and I try to teach how to do synthesis, how to do APA, how to do those kinds of things, how to write essays, how to write. And I was having this interesting discussion with one of my PhD mentees, and he was talking about segments of the population. He's having some challenges getting his research done because what he's not finding is that the group that he wants to talk to is not volunteering. It isn't in their culture to volunteer. And I think that's something that we're losing in America is the willingness to step up and say, I'll do that. I will help. I will do what's needed. We have so spoon-fed our students in the current education system that we have stifled a lot of that entrepreneurial spirit. People are not moving forward. They're not self-starters anymore. They're waiting to be started. And, that's great if you're going to work on an old Ford-style assembly line. It's not so great if we want to have a vibrant economy. We need people who are willing to take at least some risk. I'm not saying be crazy. And I'm not saying, certainly don't go and do an Enron kind of thing. That's not what we're looking for.
Right, exactly.
But do the kinds of things that grow companies, that grow people, and help people be better people. It's doable. It's nothing. It's not rocket science, folks. And to that end, so let me switch into a discussion on leadership, because I think that's where this is heading. And leadership's an interesting thing, because it's not really the person out front. The person out front is usually the visionary. The people who make the rainmakers, the ones who really make it happen, are the ones who look at the visionary and say, that's something I can get behind, and they turn it from a kook into reality. It's the second and even third, or first and second follower, right? The ones who usually don't get much praise. They're not recognized. They're not the big name out front. But for anybody who really is successful, there's always somebody helping them. You know, the old joke was, behind every successful man is a powerful woman, because that's a first follower kind of position, or at least it used to be. And that's really what we need. We need to work with first and second followers and teach people how to do that, how to figure out what is a good idea. What do you move forward? What will help society? How can we become better? What can we get behind and say, hey, this is a great idea, let's do it. The person who says that can't be the visionary.
You know, it's been impressive, I think, with this Ukrainian war. You see, there's been some stories on Channel 5, some teenagers have gotten together and formed a company, I guess, and they've been, sending stuff over to Ukraine, and these are kids that are probably doing the work of probably some social service agencies that
for a whole lot less administrative cost.
Oh yeah, and they're arranging for flights to send their stuff over and the whole thing, and it's like, wow, just imagine, that's our future generation.
Yeah, there is hope.
Yeah, there is.
There is hope. It's, I was listening to some students outside my class one time, just having a casual discussion in the hallway, and there are sparks. There was one of them who is starting up. Again, young, not a child, but a young adult.
Right.
And saying, well, I'm going to start this party rental company. And said, I went and bought unfinished chairs. And I'm going to paint them.
Oh, okay.
Because then I will be less afraid of them being damaged, because they won't be as expensive. And I'll be able to work with people. But it was an interesting take.
Wow. Okay.
So you're right. There are certainly the glimmers and the sparkles in the crowd. I just wish there were more.
Yeah.
And I look to our schools as the ones who are not creating that. The ones who stay entrepreneurial are the ones who may not follow all the rules anymore. We've so regimented things, and I get it that it's scary with school shootings and with this and with that, and this crazy idea of let's test the world and measure everybody against. We need to look at some of those and figure out how to do that better in a way that it doesn't penalize. And the other part that gets me is, why do we give the bulk of the money to the A schools when it's actually the D schools that need it?
Oh, that's a whole that's about 10 weeks worth of shows.
It is. The reality is we need to not penalize the A schools, but we also need to get the D schools up there.
That's right.
We need to somehow incentivize them as far as getting quality teachers, getting everything that they need to move forward. There needs to be something for steady improvement.
Well, I remember back in the day, even, now almost 60 years ago, in Los Angeles, where they would say, okay, the students' books at Beverly Hills High School is nowhere close to the books in the ghetto.
You're right. That was one of my intro to psychology. They work with the film Best of Enemies. And one of the things that comes out of that is that the black high schools textbooks are a year behind the grade the students are in.
Well, I would say that's generous.
They're being nice. They don't want to tell you what it really. It's not only, well, they're also old. They're old, and they're the cast-offs from the white school.
That's right.
And, and then when the discussion of integration comes, well, how are we going to bring these students who are so far behind and mix them with the students who are on track? And it is a challenging question. And I can remember out of my own youth, my parents actually sending me to a private school. Now, it was a Jewish day school, but one of the reasons they did it was because the general education level at the public school was so low.
I get it.
They didn't, they didn't want to stifle my progress by putting me in a school where I would not be challenged.
I remember, and again, as I've said several times, the biggest mistake of my life was not finishing at Loyola U. I took some courses up at Bakersfield College when I was in radio up there. And the courses were basically what I had in my junior and senior year of high school.
Yeah.
They weren't even close to my freshman or sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, you've got to be kidding.
Yeah, there are places that are just not there. But I will say something to you right now. You know that Florida does have a program for people who've not finished their degrees.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a special financial assistance for people who want to finish their bachelor's. And you've got a couple of great schools in the area.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A couple of great choices. And you can take the courses online so they don't interfere with your work hours. Got a challenge for you here.
Oh, here she goes. Uh-huh.
It's the educator in me. Well, it's...
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's important.
I just wonder what the effects of this pandemic is going to have on the high school students coming into IRSC or Kaiser now.
Well, in some ways they might be better at doing online stuff.
Well, yeah,
right?
They have a couple years experience.
They've got more experience, and hopefully it won't get so much of I don't find anything when I click this, because that's not a link. You need to know how to tell a link from a non-link, and because I get a lot of that. Anyway, so this is as good a place as any to mention the initiative at IRSC for graduating seniors locally to go ahead and get free tuition. And the deadline for that, I believe, is the 15th of May. So if you want to take advantage of that offer that IRSC made...
The promise,
yeah. Please go and do that. If you've just graduated high school and you want to go tuition free, go do it. I don't know too many places you can get a deal like that.
No.
And if you've got college units stored away, that your parents put money away, you don't have to use that to get started. Go with the promise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And all 4 counties.
Yeah.
Obviously Indian River, Okeechobee, and Martin, and here. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And thank you, Dr. Moore, and
yeah.
thanks to the foundation and whomever. I mean, somebody's
bankrolling that. Somebody's bankrolling.
Yeah.
That was my first thought when I saw that. Was like, oh wow, somebody is bankrolling this.
Yeah. And
it's a huge thing. That cannot but help the local area, the area served by IRSC. And I'll give equal time to Kaiser. Kaiser's got great programs as well. They don't have that one, but they do have some great programs, and they do have financial aid for people. Again, different strokes, different folks. It's not that one is necessarily good and the other one not. They're both good at what they do.
Yeah, and they are different. I mean, it's
a different style.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I just think, when you're talking about now tutoring the PhD candidates, I was thinking, wow, at least she's getting a little sleep. She's not continuing with the Chinese students.
You know, I'm not. I have not taught the Chinese students, although admittedly they're asking for some. My computer's being a pain. They are asking me to do some things, but I'm not. I have so enjoyed getting some sleep during the dark hours.
Gee, you think? I have absolutely no idea how you managed all of those years.
You know,
with no sleep. I
had sleep. I just slept mostly mornings, and I slept what I would call biphasic sleep, which we actually used to do more of before we created the lifestyle we have now, which is that I slept in 2 chunks, in 2 3 to 4 hour chunks during the day, and but yeah, it made for not getting a lot done. The illusion that I would get things done during the day. And yes, I could be up if there was something important. I could shift my schedule and do it. But no, I'm much more functional now.
Yes, I would imagine.
So,
yeah.
And I'm enjoying that. It actually took my body a while to adjust back to the normal schedule. And I do find myself wanting to stay up later and later than I used to. We will eventually lose that, I'm sure. I know I lose it during the week when I get up to teach my classes early.
Sure.
And
what's your first class?
9 o'clock Monday morning, I will be shining,
all right.
looking at my students' shiny faces.
There you go.
And hopefully we'll make that work. What can I say?
Good stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a really good idea.
Now, what course are you teaching at Kaiser this time?
I'm teaching 2 classes. I'm teaching experimental methods and intro to clinical.
Wow.
So
heavy duty stuff.
Heavy duty stuff. And at IRSC, I'm teaching intro to humanities. So.
Okay.
And I love all of those classes. I think they're great. So, yeah. And I'm actually going to stop in and take a quick look at a couple things at Kaiser. The campus is open, in getting ready for Monday on my way home from here.
There you go. Good stuff.
Yeah, it is good. Oh, so the mad scramble when I got here. One of the wonderful things that Publix does is they collect foam. When you've got the foam packaging, like the egg crates and the meal stuff and all of that.
I recycle all of that stuff there.
I love to as well. And, of course, I had this big stack of stuff.
The egg crates and stuff?
Yeah, the egg crates and stuff.
Yeah,
and it was this misshapen group of sizes and stuff. And as I was opening the car door to shove them in the back seat, the wind came up and 5 or 6 of them went flying, so I had to go in my neighbor's yard and retrieve them. That was part of what made me late this morning.
Oh boy.
But yeah,
happens all the time.
Yeah, the joys of it.
Sure.
So but yeah, I am definitely going to enjoy going home. This will be the first time I'm coming home to my new garden since I really just finished it up last night.
So is your husband watering it for you this morning?
I wish. It's waiting for me to water it.
It's waiting for you.
Yeah. And my next thing that I'm going to do is get the hose to attach from one of the faucets and bring around the house so that I'm not carrying buckets of water out of the kitchen sink.
All right, trip to Lowe's.
Yep. One of those places.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, if you're in the south end, Home Depot's right around the corner.
Well, there's Home Depot, there's Walmart, there's even Target has garden stuff.
Yeah, Walmart's got a garden.
Yeah,
area.
Walmart's got a garden area. So there's lots of choices, and I'm not that far from Lowe's. I'll pass them on the way home. And yeah.
So
lots of choices.
IRSC, are you teaching at the Pruitt campus in Port St. Lucie?
I am online only this summer term.
Ooh!
That was a nice, yeah. So I've been on with my students actually twice so far. And
Because there was a time you were teaching in both Vero and
Oh,
Stewart, right?
There
It was like, oh my
was
God.
one year where I was teaching in Vero, Stewart, and Port St. Lucie.
Oh my.
And I've taught out at Okeechobee.
Oh. Okay.
The only large campus I have not taught at is the main campus in Fort Pierce.
That's so funny. Wow.
I've taught everywhere else, and each campus has its nice parts. You know, the good part that I will say for my chair, Dr. Cohen, who actually just retired, was that when I had, also in psychology they did the same thing. When I had to teach up in Vero, they gave me 2 classes back to back, so that at least I traveled up once and stayed a long time and then traveled home instead of going up twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that would be difficult.
Yeah. So, it's a nice drive, and I guess, I never quite managed to have the spare time to go shopping when I went up there, largely because I was there for so many hours. But it did give me a chance to stop, and I did a little teeny bit of shopping on the way home a couple times. And I can remember, actually, my husband had to drive me up to Vero one of the days. I was allowed to stand, but I wasn't allowed to drive after my surgery. So he had to drive, and he sat down on one of the benches outside and discovered that Vero also has fire ants, because he was sitting there reading, and out of the corner of his eye saw this army marching toward him.
Yeah.
And decided that he would shift locations.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, fire ants, and it's going to be their season here soon again. I know that I chased a bunch of, I don't even know what kind they are, but little tiny beetles. I know the lizards love to eat them. But they were in one of the, no, it wasn't the big cockroaches. It was the, oh, yeah, the lizards are getting bigger and bigger because now we've got those multicolored guys almost all over the Treasure Coast.
Yeah, and they're not native to here.
No, they're not. Yeah, and there's the curly tails. They're still in a lot of parking lots. The big lizards and the curly tails seem to do well in the parking lots. Our natives don't seem to do as well in that environment. And the geckos, of course, are out at night. And I enjoy all of those. We had to chase a couple of them out of our grill. Bill grilled some meat the other day.
Oh,
so
okay.
we had these 2 lizards that every time they jumped deeper into the grill. We kept trying to chase them out of it so that we didn't flame them.
It tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's not my idea. No. I don't like unnecessarily torching wildlife.
That's so true.
Let the birds have them, and whoever else is going to eat the lizards. What I'm seeing less and less of, though, are the turtles. We used to see them walking through our yard, and I'm just not seeing very many of them anymore.
And we saw our first little bunny rabbit couple weeks ago in St. Lucie West. First time I'd seen one in a long time. And that's something relatively new. But we were joking about that because we had a pet bobcat that was seen regularly across the street at the golf club, and we were wondering
if it wasn't
feasting on the rabbits.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, the other wildlife that I wish people would treat a little better are possums. Possums don't get rabies, but they do eat fleas and ticks, folks. They are one of the best flea and tick controllers you can have in your yard.
I don't think I'd even know a possum if I saw it.
They live in different areas. We've seen them, interestingly, in and around the square at Tradition. They like to live under the bushes in there. If you don't know how to look for them, you might not see them because they do blend so well. But there's a couple that live in my mango tree, and they frustrate one of my dogs terribly because they'll sit up there and they'll look down at him, and he's down there yapping, saying, "Come down and play," and they're like, "Yeah, no way." And I mean, they're bigger than he is actually. They're not a tiny animal, and they're not rats. People look at the baby possums and say rat. They're not. They look very different. They've got a very different shape. They've got an impressive mouth, I'll tell you that. Their jaw is bigger than my dog's head, and I keep trying to tell my dog that.
Whoa.
They've got very big mouths. They can take on a critter if they choose to. Most of the time they don't. They play possum. They pretend.
Oh, is that where the old saying came
Yeah.
from? They play possum.
Yeah, they play possum. They act like they're dead. And
Wow. Okay.
that way they get left, usually, and then they toddle off. But my crazy dog he's insane. I've caught him trying to pulling the possums off the tree by their tail, which does not please the possum, and I'm amazed that they have not attacked him.
not a brilliant move on
No.
the part of the dog.
The possum just wants to get away, fortunately. And, I keep telling the dog, leave them alone. He does come away. He will leave the possum when I tell him to. But he's also not a good starter. He won't do it on his own if they're just too inviting. He wants to play.
Better not try that with a bobcat.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to figure out that they can drop, mangoes on him. But
Yeah, attack him with chestnuts or something.
yeah, there was another cute moment the other day when I was out in the backyard, and there was a squirrel up the pine tree, and it was upside down with its tail up, and he's kind of looking down at the dog who's down there going boing, 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 boing. Like, ding dog, he's not going to come down and play with you. He's just not. So that's the wilds of my yard. And it's as good a time as any to say, hey, folks, it's May. It's a beautiful time of year. Please continue to stay safe. On the news there was the story about Maine having this explosion of COVID. Well, let's hope it doesn't travel through the country. I'm afraid that it will, but let's try to keep ourselves safe, folks.
Well, and if you're vaccinated, you should be okay. I mean, it may be like a mild flu.
But that's not a reason to.
I know.
Yes, we still need to practice some intelligence. Don't get around people who are coughing and sputtering and sneezing.
Exactly.
And I say that as somebody who's got postnasal drip and chronically coughs. So it's a great way to clear out. It was a great way during the height of the pandemic to clear out Publix. But I could get people to move in any aisle by just a couple of well-timed coughs. But we still, and I didn't do that, my body did it for me. But we still need to be cautious. Please stay home if you're not feeling well. I don't care if it's a cold, the flu, or corona. Don't spread it. Don't share.
Right.
Keep, get over it, conquer it, and then come out as the victorious one who's no longer infectious. We need to be mindful of that. It's worth noting that during the height of the pandemic, flu went down, not because the flu was in submission, but because people were being safer in general.
Mm-hmm.
So
I get it.
Folks, let's do that. Let's keep ourselves safe. We're not out of this woods yet. It's looking lighter and the trees are thinning out, but we're not out of it. So let's not take a crazy turn and go back in.
That makes perfect sense.
And my heart's out to the folks in Ukraine. We really need to help. It was encouraging to hear that the First Lady's serving food to our military, giving them a little boost for their morale. And let's not see a big world war out of this, folks, please. Please, may it end soon. And may there be peace.
I just have a sneaking suspicion that, it seems like the Russians have just, I just don't understand. One of the generals was talking on television about, it seems like World War II all over again, that their strategy is just terrible.
Yeah. Well, historically, they've been able to win wars by the vastness of their country and the sheer numbers of conscripted soldiers.
Right.
And that changes when the folks you're fighting against are more organized, smarter, and more desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And, America has moved. We still have the draft, but we don't actually use it. And part of the reason for that is you get better soldiers, as a rule, if they're not conscripted. Their hearts are more in it. Regardless of their reasons for coming in, they came in, and it's a decision they made, and as opposed to being told to do something.
Right, exactly. Sure.
So there's a lot to be said for that. And on that note, it's as good a time as any for me to mention, if you enjoy hearing Ask a Rabbi, and if you would like to sponsor an episode, please contact the radio station. And that's the same number as the call-in number. That's 772-340-1590. And ask to speak to either Greg or Carol, and they'll tell you what is involved in sponsoring one or more episodes, and you'll get some extra advertising out of it.
You bet.
And this is Rabbi Shafir Loeb for Congregation Eitz Chayim, your Jewish home on the Treasure Coast.
And the service times?
7:30 tonight for Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming the Sabbath. And, we're still doing Saturday mornings on Zoom.
All right. Very nice. See you next week.
See you next week, God willing.
You've been listening to Ask a Rabbi right here on WPSL, Port St. Lucie. Talking the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world.